Hello, you lot. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor here. We're back with another One Leeds video. We're back with the rumour mill. What's going on in your world? What time is it? What time are you logging in to this One Leeds video? I'm always fascinated to know the time zones and the amount of Leeds fans we have across the globe. But even if you're in miserable Beeston at the minute because of the weather, if you're in disgraceful Manchester because of the gloomy, gloomy sky, it doesn't matter. We're all here together discussing Leeds United. Blackburn at the weekend is fast approaching. I'm going to have a preview for you guys live from Ewood Park. Can you believe it? Yes, I'm making the gloomy journey to Ewood Park to give you guys a little bit of a preview, something a little bit different. So get ready for that one. Hopefully I'm not going to get mobbed by Blackburn fans if I'm stood there in a Leeds United shirt, but we'll wait and see. I've never been to Ewood Park. I've been to Preston, I've been to Burnley, all the areas around Lancashire, but never Blackburn. So we'll wait and see what happens. SOS if I don't come on the room mill the next day. But getting to a few of your comments, down under Gold Coast is they're all here. Leeds fan Leodis, sorry mate, Leodis United. Good morning, Connor. SSJW in a lecture right now, Jamie. Get it on full whack, my friend. Let everybody know what we're doing this morning. Morning, mate, says Lee. Hello from Brisbane, says Fred. Loads of expats in the building. Smash a like and subscribe. Please, says Danny LUFC, Rumsey, one of the regulars. Anthony's in the building. Michael, one of the regulars as well. Hello, everybody. Hello. Harvey's already in the building with a little bit of chat that we're going to be speaking on in just a little bit of a second when it comes to Joe Rodon and a potential barrier to Leeds United and getting this guy over the line potentially at the end of the season. So, as we always say, everybody, if you want to head on over to the Patreon, we had some bonus transfer content the other day, and we are going to be stockpiling that MFer very, very soon when it comes to Patreon. I'm going to start doing giveaways. I'm going to start doing all that good stuff. So make sure you head on over there if you want bonus content. It's about £4 a month, and it helps the channel substantially. So make sure you do that. I'm going to make that place worth it, and I'm going to make this place worth it as well. So I just wanted to get that out there. Okay, then let's get into the major news. So Phil reported a while ago, and I wanted to touch on it really because it's something that I've been thinking about for quite a while, but he reported that Joe Rodon, on around about, I think it was the 9th to the 12th of November, about Spurs and Daniel Levy wanting a certain amount for Joe Rodon. And it was reported at that moment in time that Levy wanted 50 million quid for the 26-year-old to depart permanently, as I sip my frothy coffee. Now, the report signified that Leeds would, and the 49ers would be able to knock this down substantially. Now, substantially isn't what we need to do for that. We would need to knock that off by about 60%. I think we all know that. So, yeah, I don't know where this is going to go with Joe Rodon. I am a little bit perturbed by that, and it's something that I did a bit of research on this morning. It was an actual, almost, not quote, but it was something that Phil definitely reported on, and we know what Levy's like. Now, what would you be willing to pay, chat, for Joe Rodon? If you're watching this on the replay, what would you be willing to pay? Now, Harvey Richardson makes a really solid point there about him having 1 year left on his deal, and the price that was quoted is gargantuan. Now, for me, I have no idea if Daniel Levy is still on that, pressing on that bandwagon. Surely not. But I'm a little bit worried about what he actually would be asking for when it comes to Joe Rodon at the end of the season. Is there any point in looking at this right now? Some of you may say, Connor, it's irrelevant, it's pointless, we're mid-season, who cares, mate? But some of you may be thinking long-term with Leeds United and long-term with the project. Can Leeds get this guy back if we're in the Championship? I would say no. Can Leeds get this guy back if we're in the Premier League? Obviously, the chances are going to be massively raised. Rodon will want to be at a Premier League club, but that also means that the price is going to be extremely high. So a little bit of a interesting discussion here, chat. How much would you be willing to pay for Joe Rodon? If you're only watching this on the replay and you're not lucky enough, I should say, to be in the chat right now, let me know in the comment section below. But Joe Rodon, for me, I've had this chat with my old man, will cost more than we will think he will cost because of the guy at the top at Tottenham who is an absolute ruthless negotiator when it comes to price. I think I was a little bit nervy about 20 million quid. I didn't know if that was enough. I think we're going to be looking at a lot more north of 20 million quid It's going to be that or nothing for Leeds United, in my opinion. He's on the Championship level anyway, says John Redmond. James in the building says 20 million tops. LUFC Toffs, one of the regulars, says 30 million quid he'd pay. Tops 25, Jamie. Ollie Flack says 15 million quid, get it done in January. They obviously want us to offer Nonso, says Diggler. 15 million tops, 15. I think I'm on a very similar wavelength to a lot of you guys. I think the interesting part of Joe Rodon is when you look at our centre-backs at the club, and this is just a great predicament to have because we have the best two centre-backs at the club. Let's not have silly talk about Faze and Vestergaard. No way. It is Pascal Struijk and Joe Rodon, the best centre-back partnership. But there's an argument, everybody, that Joe Rodon's not even the best centre-back at the club. Which is crazy because we always compare with Ben White. And when Ben White was in the building, even when Struijk was there, but it was at the start of his development, it was Ben White FC at the back, wasn't it? But right now, Pascal Struijk, and we know he's made a couple of errors in the last couple of weeks, but in terms of how proactive he is in possession, how he moves Leeds up the field, his interpretation, his development at Leeds, there's a real strong argument that he's the better centre-back, which is it's so interesting when you look at the dynamic, because when Ben was here and Ben and Joe are getting compared consistently, Ben was just next level compared to everyone. Joe is in and around Pascal Struijk's level, according to myself and others. But I don't think Leeds should overpay for Joe Rodon. I don't think we should be held to ransom by this guy who is a mass negotiator, and he's been doing it for years and years and years and always got the best value for his player. But we want this kid, don't we? At any level. And I think we've just had a couple of really good comments in there talking about the valuation, but also talking about what Spurs do want. And I think Levy will throw in a Willy Gnonto card. And then you look at the whole dynamic, and if we are to talk hypotheticals, in January, Willy Gnonto for Joe Rodon. What a question. What a debate, what a discussion. And it's one where it all depends for me on what Willy Gnonto wants. Because I think Joe Rodon would welcome the move. Willy Gnonto leaving for me is still a big cross. I'm still not sure. I love Willy Gnonto. I think he's got so much to offer this side. And in a part exchange deal where this is hypotheticals, but I do feel that Levy, if he is negotiating with Leeds and Leeds are to cut him down from what Phil was quoting, 50 million quid only a month ago, what Levy wanted if he was to leave on a permanent, that might have reduced a little bit. But to get that down even more, could a Willy Gnonto card significantly increase the chances of Joe Rodon coming to Leeds? And if that is the case, would you let Willy Gnonto go the other way for a cut price, obviously, but weighed against Joe Rodon? Paul Bishop in the building. Keep up the graph, pal. Appreciate it always, Paul. Thank you so much for your donation, buddy. Really, really appreciate that. I hope you guys are enjoying the morning lives. And yeah, thank you so much, buddy. Spurs can have Gnonto for 90 million. Pascal is not as calm as Rodon. Get him on loan again. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. Marcus, hello, Marcus, says, I think we only get 15 million. I think we will get for 50 million. He wants here and only 1 year left. Levy is smart, not stupid with only 1 year left. Great content, Connor. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate that. Rodon and Spence for Gnonto. Yeah, I mean, listen, we can always talk about Jed Spence in that equation, can't we? Jed Spence is obviously part of the puzzle when it comes to Leeds United and that Tottenham Hotspur link. You know, we always forget about Jed Spence, don't we? Rodon is not proven in the Prem, plus not long left on contract, no more than 15 million, says Blake. Learn from mistakes of overpaying on rubbish, Llorente, Rasmus, etc., etc. He wants Gnonto. Levy hasn't got any cards leverage in this deal, says Michael. Jonesy says, Struijk is brilliant when he isn't in the opposition's box. How much did we pay for Llorente? Connor, he's 10 times a player he is. Yeah, exactly. 18 million quid was that valuation. Can you believe that? Yeah, so it's just that I think we're going to see some of these pawns moving on this chessboard, because if we can get something done in January, that'd be amazing. It's, you know, some real sustainability is the wrong word, but consistency when it comes to Leeds, knowing where they're going to be in the summer. And getting something like Joe Rodon done is definitely something that is achievable. 100% achievable. But it's what we do to get there and how far we go. Bearing in mind, for Ben White, we offered 35. I like to throw the Ben White in there. I do. I like to throw Ben in there because he gives me the same feeling as Joe's given me at the minute, which is assurance at the back. Okay, let's move on. Anyway, let's move on to the next port of call. So Daniel FARKE, on the 5th of December, speaking to Leeds Live. I thought this was a nice little thing to get into your lunchtime or start your day or end your day. In the beginning, when he was speaking about PARAAG and the 49ers, when we had initial talks, obviously a lot because I wanted to see the whole picture and also how they wanted to lead the club, which way, which values, which processes. My gut feeling was really, really, really good about this and we were pretty much on the same page. Also, how to bring stability, Joe Rodon chat, and also, hopefully, mid and long-term success to the club, not just short-term. Everyone wants short-term, but also sustainability and what we want to create. And we're all on the same page. We found and are still finding a really good balance between being in touch and speaking about general things. Bearing in mind, when it came to Bielsa, Radrizzani, and Orta, that relationship became very, 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 very broken. Bielsa would do his own thing, which we all loved, but we always knew that Orta would come to him with a few signings. Radrizzani was never in the picture, apparently, and this is according to Kinnear. Radrizzani, toward the end, the relationship, and even mid-relationship, Angus barely spoke to Bielsa. Radrizzani barely spoke to Bielsa unless needed. Looks like consistently you're having FARKE speaking to PARAAG. PARAAG leads this club in a general way. It's fantastic to have those people around. The club is really blessed with a lot of quality people. At the moment, we just have to make sure further on there are the right decisions. And I think this is the whole thing. It's the whole hallmark of Leeds, that positivity breeds positivity, consistency breeds success. And that's the beauty of what's going on with Leeds United at the minute. The ethos, or the ethos, as the Americans like to say. And I think strong communication, I should say, between the manager and the chairman is always a huge positive for any football club. Any successful football club, you get a bit of a communication between the both. You look at Khaldoon, the City owner, and Pep, constant communication. FSG and Jurgen Klopp. A lot of Liverpool fans don't like FSG, but apparently there's communication between Liverpool's hierarchy, and it's quite close. Successful clubs breed success. We know with Kroenke and Arteta and all the boys at the top of the club, there has been a little bit more of a communication there through Josh Kroenke. And then you see the lack of communication at the so-called top clubs when it comes to Man United, where there is just no communication, no relationship whatsoever, and it's an absolute mess. So there is definitely a causal link there, a huge causal link there. And I think this is the beauty right now with what we're seeing. The 49ers want to get intertwined with everything that's going on with Leeds United. And Daniel FARKE is reaping the rewards of this. With a strong chairman there, a strong relationship, strong communication. He knows what he's getting in January. Guaranteed he knows what he's getting in January when it comes to transfer targets. But also, he knows what's going to be happening long term. They've already spoken about wanting FARKE in the Premier League, giving him another shot in the Premier League. Do you think that's the right choice? I don't know. But ultimately, that relationship's absolutely perfect. And it looks like, we're going to be going into the next couple of January transfer windows, I should say, with that assurance. 1 year left when we're speaking about Joe Rodon. Obviously, let him run down his contract and give Levy the finger. Good evening, Connor from the Gold Coast. Hello, Oggy. Hope you're all good, mate. Rodon is 26 and can't get a start in the Prem. 50 million. He's having a laugh with 1 year left. If they get 15 for him, I'll be shocked. I'm in the same situation with you, Dale. And I also think if we're offering Willy Gnonto as leverage and then 25 million, I think that's madness. And that's absolute madness. When you look at the market value of Willy Gnonto, we're rejecting 30 million quid. 30 million quid in the summer. For Leeds then to offer him up as a part deal, part exchange way for Joe Rodon, which I'm not saying we're doing, by the way. This is all hypothetical. That would be madness. It'd be madness. Gnonto should look at Jack Clark's situation when Leeds sold him to Spurs for 10 million. Clark never got in before being farmed out to QPR, Stoke before finding his feet at Sunderland. I'd agree, Michael. I think you're right. Hello from the Sunny Coast Horse. Nice to catch you live. Connor, yeah, 100%, mate. Good to see it. It feels like Leeds finally, says Brett, have stability with the 49ers and FARKE. We are no longer left with a soft touch when it comes to clubs wanting our players. Smash a like and subscribe, please, everybody. Yep, 400 of you in the building this morning, everybody. Great numbers. Please make sure you're hitting a like on the video just so it ranks in the algorithm and your family and friends and whoever can see it. Rodon says Diggler wants to stay at Leeds, so he won't be happy that Levy wants 50 million quid for him. Diggler, this was always the problem with Harry Kane. It's always been the problem with many players that have wanted to leave Tottenham Hotspur. Levy is a shrewd negotiator. And when I say shrewd, I mean absolutely ruthless. So, player ruled out till Christmas. Who is that, Connor? Who are you talking about? Well, it's obviously Junior Firpo. And the reason I wanted to discuss this was it's nothing new. We all know this, but 3 weeks is what we got told around about a week ago. Reports are suggesting this morning that it is going to be up until Christmas, which, if you are doing the math, equates to around about a month out. We've spoken about Junior Firpo multiple times. We've spoken about reliability and dependability of key figures at Ellen Road. We've spoken about what we need to do in January. For me, there is a genuine possibility that Firpo moves on in January. A possibility. I'm not saying it is, but there is a possibility. Now, if those rumours get stronger, Sport is a very decent, reputable source, normally, have reported that for 10.2 million quid, he goes in January to Real Betis. Makes you ponder and think to yourself, he's out for 4 weeks. It's going to get him till January. All hypothetical once again. All me not sourcing any conclusion out of this. It's all just topics debate. Then it's a decent move for him to Real Betis. We had the Leeds podcast a couple of weeks ago. He was saying how much he loved Leeds. Could well be true. Could well be true. But I do wonder with Junior Firpo what happens. And listen, this might be authentic. I guarantee it is authentic. But it does make you wonder, even if this is authentic and he goes into January and Betis come in, what a move that would be for him. But doesn't that absolutely strike down how much Leeds United need a left back? And we've spoken about this numerous times, but this is getting more and more and more and more obvious now. And when we're going into the window, I'm just hoping, I'm praying that this is going to be an actual prospect at the end of this December month, because Firpo's now going to be out for a month, which we thought was going to be 3 weeks initially. 2 to 3 weeks was what was first quoted. Now out for a month, sort of leads him into January. It'd be the perfect time to say goodbye. The perfect time to say goodbye. And I didn't mention on yesterday's live as well, I think in January it would be a real lucrative time for Leeds United to do some movement outwards as well. Not just inwards. I don't just want to go get Matt Target, Ian Matson and all this sort of stuff and Ben Cabango and players of that ilk. I want Leeds to sell some players and get rid of some players. Chew the fat as such. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on what you would do here. For me, Gelhardt goes. Why? And paves the way for another striker to come in. If I had it all my way, Bamford would be gone as well. But I've been saying this for about 3 transfer windows. Now it looks like Eminem, we should keep him in. But yeah, it would be Bamford going for me. Then you've got space for a striker to come in, for a striker to see the pathway, for a young striker to come in and think, right, it's me versus Joel Perreault, if we're talking about Joel Perreault as a striker. Then, yesterday, I mentioned on one of my shorts, Middlesbrough and Sunderland are looking at Charlie Cresswell, 4 million quid. Borough makes complete sense. They've had issues with Dale Fry. They've got a couple of injuries out as well. Sunderland have been tracking Charlie Cresswell for the best part of 18 months. And they've obviously got, players who've come from Leeds United before and done really well, as in through the QPR, Stoke, Tottenham, Jack Clark. They've got him in and yeah, he's done really well for him. Not that there'd be a link there, but they might be thinking, nice little relationship, little bond there between 2 lads from the area. All in all, 4 million quid. I mentioned on the short yesterday that Cooper stands in Cresswell's way. Hi Bradley, hope you're all right. And he does. And someone said to me yesterday, they said, Connor, Liam Cooper can't play on the right. That's what you're talking about. Charlie Cresswell obviously would come in on the right. Well, he hasn't. And this is the big problem now. And this is why I mentioned yesterday, Cooper's a big problem for Charlie Cresswell. He's captain of the club. You've got Strout, You've got Rodon, you've got Cooper here, and then you've got Cresswell. There's an argument you've got Ayling even before Cresswell, although we're not in the Marcelo Bielsa days of putting Ayling at centre-back. And he's not even in the squad at the minute. So Cooper's a problem for Charlie Cresswell because he has to see a pathway. I genuinely believe if Charlie Cresswell saw he's in a promotion-chasing side, a side absolutely littered with quality from back to front at Leeds United, if he saw a pathway, Strout, Rodon, him, just below, I think he'd be sticking around at Ellen Road. And I think it's actually a bad decision letting Charlie Cresswell go. I've never come on here and sort of spoke so much about Charlie Cresswell being this, that, and the other. But I do think there's a player in there. I do think there is a player in there. I think there's a leader in there. I think there's a future captain in there. And it's not because I'm just Leeds. He's from Leeds and all this sort of stuff. And his dad used to play for Leeds. It's not. When I look at the attributes of this guy, I genuinely believe that he can be a deputy to Strauch or Rodon. We've seen him play on the left-hand side of a centre-back partnership. I don't think he's been astronomically good for Leeds United, but he's not been given the run of games. I think championship level, as we saw at Millwall last season, when for 2/3 of the season, he was very, very, very good in a strong Millwall back line, got some goals under his belt. I think that's more of an impact overall than what Liam Cooper would do in a championship season at this ripe old age that he's at in football terms. So I genuinely believe Charlie, as a deputy to those two, will be a really good replacement. And what we've seen this season is even when the left side's gone out, when the right side's gone out, in a back two, Cooper comes in. It doesn't matter if it's on the left or the right. So Charlie's probably looking at that and thinking, listen, he's club captain. He can come in on the right or the left. FARKE's not having me. What do I do? There's no pathway for me. So Cooper, without him knowing, is a problem for Charlie Cresswell. A huge problem. Because as I've said, I genuinely believe if it was just those two and he's just that middleman, he sees an opportunity for, oh, if one of them comes out, I can prove myself. But he can't do that at all. It has to be Strauch and or Rodon and then Cooper out as well. So for me, Charlie, it's a big problem for him. And I mentioned this yesterday as well on the short, and I'm going to get into a few of your comments. 4 million quid. That is the reported. I'm not saying it's factual. It's hypothetical. This is the rumour mill. So it might be true, it might not be. 4 million quid. For me, that's daylight robbery. It really is. For someone who's played in the developmental squads for England, someone who still does as well, captains them, has played a full season of championship football, and then you let him go for 4 million quid, and that's a big problem. But it depends on what Charlie wants to do, surely. Fascinated to hear what you guys think on this one. Teat CMC's the only problem is, Connor, that when he gets exposure, he needs, especially if we sign Rodon. Let me know what you mean there, mate. I didn't really get that far. Oggy says, Charlie is an asset to us. We must keep him. Charlie Cresswell has real potential, but the noise around him is that he's a bit of a nutter. Maybe FARKE doesn't really like that, which would be ridiculous when he looks as good as when he plays. Loan him. FFS says, Remy, what's the story, Connor? How you, mate? Hope you're all good. I'd take my chances with Charlie over Coops any day of the week. Madness to sell Cresswell. Cresswell is a young Coops. FARKE doesn't see Cresswell in his plans. Cresswell sale will be one we wish we hadn't have kept done in 2 or 3 seasons' time. Who's ruled him out till Xmas? There's a fair few outlets that are saying it, mate, online. Yes, Connor, lad. Doesn't Charlie have a long contract, Connor? He does, mate, but it all depends. It all depends on what he wants to do. It all depends. The Sam Greenwood situation was very, very similar. If we do loan him out, great, okay. Are we going to see an obligation at the end of it? And if we do see an obligation at the end of it, is it going to be anything in excess of 4 million for me is madness. It's madness. And it's if we're looking to get rid of some of the so-called deadwood in January, it's who is going to come in and slap that money down. And if they do slap that money down, are Leeds going to be brave enough in the current climate to say no when it's maybe 4 to 5 million quid and this player is 4th choice centre-back? That's the reality of it. If someone's coming in and stooping 1.5, 2 million quid down for Joe Gelhardt when he's about the 6th choice behind Matteo Joseph, is the club going to be brave enough right now to turn around and go, no? And is it even a conversation of being brave, or is it a conversation of just being logistical? Is there a buyback clause there that Leeds could put on these two? But for me, both of them go in Jan. Both of them go in Jan. I think there's going to be offers for both, and I'd be really surprised. I could see Gelhardt doing a loan. I can see Cresswell going on a permanent because he's already done a loan. But, you know, we've seen before when Ben White was at Brighton, that players can go on multiple loans. You know, Newport, what did he go on? Newport, was it? Where else did he go? Was it Portsmouth, Ben White? I don't think it was it? It wasn't Portsmouth. Newport. Anyway, there's a couple of other clubs he went to. It was Peterborough, wasn't it? Was it Peterborough? Anyway, he went on a couple of loans before he came to Leeds United, didn't he? So, yeah, Bamford to Harrogate on loan. Gelhardt, I would sell if possible. Gelhardt needs to be shipped off. And that's it. The Gelhardt one's interesting. The Gelhardt one is interesting because a lot of you guys, let me know, chat, would it be a loan or would you sell him permanently? Fascinated on this one. Peterborough, it was Segundo. Bamford to Bradford City on a perm. Just have to put buyback clauses in. City do it with all of theirs on loan. They do, Gav. Every single one of them, apart from Darko JB, have buyback clauses on them, which is fascinating. It really is interesting. And Joseph should be on the bench ahead of Bamford. I agree. I agree with that one. Can you blame Cresswell if he's not getting a game? Cooper, Ayling still ahead of him in 2023. Callum, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I hope Ayling isn't ahead of him. But my head tells me he is. It really still tells me he is, which is, I agree, mate. Bat, S-H-I-T, crazy. It really, really is. Morning, Connor from Braco. Wicklow, hi, mate. Would Leeds United sell Shackleton? This is a really interesting point from Elmy. Elmy. Great point. One for the chat. Sentiment is a thing. It's a real thing that we all think, don't want to let you go. Don't want to let you go because my emotions getting in the way of everything here. And I want you to stay because you've come through the academy and I've got a real emotive connection to you. But you can throw that ball out the window. Shackleton goes. No, I'm joking. But in all seriousness, I think this is a real opportunity to shed a lot of the fat. I think it's a real opportunity to invest in areas where Leeds United are going to profit in terms of quality. Now, I'm all about having local lads in the team. I'm all about having rotation options in certain areas. I want specialists in certain areas above that, though. I want a fully fledged quality left back. I'd love 2 left backs and Byram to be rotation for the back line. You guys know this from me. Yes, Jamie Shackleton, if it was me, would be gone in January. He couldn't get in at Millwall. He can't get in at Leeds. He's not a rotation option. We've now literally gone and got the central midfielder who's 17 years old and put him right back, which Shackleton would have filled in at the start of the season. There's no point in keeping him around. His stock's high. He's put minutes in at Leeds United. He's played minutes. So clubs will be thinking, oh, he's played X amount at Leeds United. He must, he'll be all right. Be able to fit in at us. Leeds are doing really well. Sell him because his stock's high. It won't be for a mass value, but if you can get 1.52 million for him, whatever, maybe more, who knows. Gelhardt goes as well for a decent value. Charlie I'd like to keep, but I can see that happening. But Jamie, for me, would be gone. And once again, it makes the pathway much simpler, as if it should be anyway, but much simpler and much more obvious for a left back coming in. And it frees up Byram a little bit. We can use Byram as rotation. That's perfect for me. You get a left back in, you can do whatever you want with Byram, really. He becomes Stuart Dallas. Some of you might not think that we need a left back in. And I get that. I understand Byram's been excellent. For me, you need a left back. You always need a left back. So it was the number 2 position I was talking about in the summer for me. And it was still, even as well as Byram's done, it was still the position, and it still is the position for me that Leeds need to invest in. Joffrey just not good enough, says Alex. Joe's in the building, left back for sure. Hey, mate. How much would you take for Shaqs? Do you think Firpo is held back to get shot in January? Keep Shaq as a squad filler. What will FARKE say, do, or both? Shackleton they'll keep. I don't think it makes much sense, to be honest with you. Leeds sold Leif Davis, really good point from Michael, to Ipswich for 1 million, yet he's one of Ipswich top assist makers over 2 seasons, and Ipswich value him higher than 1 million. don't make the same as well as Cress. I think Michael makes a really good point there. Really solid point. And I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with it whatsoever. I think Cresswell's the one where you can make a big error. Cresswell's the one where you make a big error. Shackleton, you don't make an error. Gelhardt, he will do well somewhere else. But I'll be honest, I think Gelhardt right now is a League One player. He's a League One player. You know, I think he'd work perfectly in a front two, as him as a shadow striker, or even as a 10. And I think you're going to see that strategy much more in League One. I think the Championship's getting a lot closer to the Premier League in terms of 4-3-3s, 4-2-3-1s, which are everywhere in terms of systems, tactical perspectives, yada, yada, yada. It's not about two up top. It's very rare now. You know, Millwall, in all seriousness, could be a good option for someone like Shackleton. You know, quite a traditional formation normally, but Millwall, you know, have improved in terms of football. So I don't know. I think Gelhardt would really, really profit in terms of the Smith and Viduka role. You know, him being the Smith, just in behind Viduka. I think he'd actually be perfect there in terms of that system. Left back and proven 10 for me this January. Didn't we pay 1 million for Diego Monteiro? Not spoken about. Granted, Byram can't be relied on every game, but he has been brilliant. Yeah, we need a left back, centre back, right back if Spence ain't going to start. I don't really want to let any player leave until the end of the season. That's another thing. It's another interesting point. You know, do you let anyone go? Do you let Nonto go? Do you let Shackleton go? Cresswell, Gelhardt? Unfortunately, you do, because stock's high in football. And when stock's high in football, you get rid of the players, so you get the ultimate value. So for me, that has to happen. It has to happen at some point. You can't wait till the end of the season, because Shackleton, his value is going to go like that. It's going to depreciate. Gelhardt's going to depreciate. You know, I think that's where you've got to start making moves. Guys, listen, we're going to be back tonight with the debrief. We're back tonight with the debrief. Brownie, I think he's going to be back. I know you guys will be excited by that. Brownie's going to be back. I think we're going to have the whole squad there tonight. We're going to be going from around about 6:30, so you guys can watch the evening games. Get right intertwined with the chat. We're going to be speaking about a load of stuff we've got to talk about. Gabe and Brownie are on the same show again, so there might be some more arguments, which is always fun for me to watch. Oscar might connect his microphone this time. Who knows? Get your thoughts in the section below. Odds are 2-1 that he gets it sorted. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I will see you this evening for the debrief, where we're talking everything Leeds. We're going to be talking Blackburn. We're going to be talking the Championship, managerial sackings, and all the like. Keep tuned to One Leeds. Make sure you head on over to the Patreon as well for some bonus content and some future giveaways. I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.